Nothing better than being in New York City and at Madison Square Garden during the holidays, and nothing better than big-time college hoops.
Michael Jordan. They won it! Wow! Oh, my goodness! How about that? Oh, boy! Unbelievable! Dreams to come true. As good as it gets.
It's another capacity crowd here at Madison Square Garden as defending national champion, the Villanova Wildcats, get set to take on the UConn Huskies. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Clark Kellogg. We'll be joined by John Rothstein in just a little bit. Happy holidays, everybody. We hope you're enjoying the last few days before Christmas. We're enjoying being in this great atmosphere with two teams that are transitioning right now. Villanova will be out without their starting point guard, Colin Gillespie, so that transition is sped up even more.
Yeah, it really is, and no better way than to fortify your resume in a non-conference finale like this. Really important for both of these teams.
All right, it's time now for our AT&T Fast Analysis. Let's look at what Villanova does not so well and what they do well.
Well, when they're not doing what they don't do well is take challenge shots. That's an area where you want to shoot this shot wide open. That's a challenge, 1-pass-3. On the flip side of that, Tom, when the ball moves and players move and the spacing is good, you get something much more easy at the basket and uncontested. On the other side, UConn's guards are terrific. Tariq Gilbert, so good at creating for himself and his teammates. Jalen Adams leads them in scoring. And these guys are dynamic. That'll be the challenge for Villanova today.
Jay Wright told us that's his biggest fear, is that the two guards for UConn go off this afternoon. It's a great non-conference matchup, and the tip is coming up next. CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. By Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. And by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
That's it. Villanova has done it. For the championship. Yeah! Nova Nation has another national championship. And UConn has done it. And the Huskies are the top dog.
Well, you saw that graphic. You couldn't have better pedigrees than the UConn Huskies and the Villanova Wildcats. 7 national championships between the two since 1985. Villanova, as we mentioned, with a change in their starting lineup. For more on that, let's go to John Rothstein.
Well, Tom, some injury news out of Villanova. Colin Gillespie will not play today due to concussion suffered this week in practice. Joe Cremo will start in his place. This opens up the door for Javon Quinterly, the talented 5-star freshman, to get more minutes in the Villanova rotation. He has not been in the mix recently, Tom.
Yeah, Colin Gillespie took an elbow the other day at practice and went through all of the protocol, but still needs to sit out at least today's ball game. And for Jay Wright, he told us before the ball game that it's kind of a transition style year, but it also will enable him to speed up some of the youngsters even more. Jay Wright's had such a spectacular career as the head coach at Villanova. You don't throw around spectacular that easily, but he's won 430 games. Here's the starting lineups for both squads. As John mentioned, Cremo will start at the guard. That means that Phil Booth will run the point at least to start the ball game. And they have to deal with the 3-guard rotation for the UConn Huskies with Vital, Adams, and Gilbert. And Danny Hurley, well, what else can you say about Danny Hurley? He has resurrected every program that he has gone to. Rhode Island before that, obviously in high school with St. Benedict's, and now he's trying to do the same thing with UConn.
Well, he's dubbed himself Mr. Fix-It, and he's got an impressive resume in doing just that, and I anticipate this Huskies team will be back contending for championships before too long in the future.
Well, no better place to be than New York City during the holidays. And how about this venue, Madison Square Garden? It's sold out. It's Villanova and UConn. They used to face off all the time in the Big East, and now they face off in a non-conference battle, and Villanova will control the tip. Now we will see UConn man-to-man most of the time. Pascal has himself cut off and then forces his way to the basket. And Booth gets the rebound for three, and it's a nice start for the Wildcats.
One of the best times to shoot the three is off an offensive rebound.
But that's one of the things that Jay Wright preached the other day at practice, was getting the offensive boards, tipping it out to get that second chance shot.
Yeah, the defense is compressed in the paint, so guys on the perimeter are wide open if you secure that offensive board.
Here's Gilbert battling shoulder injuries the last couple of years. Adams rolling to the right. Gilbert with 7 on the shot clock. Gilbert step back jumper, and that's a 2-point field goal and a 1-point game.
Talked to Gilbert before the game. You know, he battled the shoulder injury for a couple of seasons, but is 100%. And he said it really helped him being hurt to sit back and see the game a little better and differently. And he's a much more mature player as a result. Nice job here. Hard drive, step back, create space, splash. Well, not quite splash. That was a little more raggedy than a splash, but 2 points nonetheless.
Villanova will inbound along the baseline with 19 on the shot clock. Phil Booth's had to take a lot of the scoring responsibility with the changes that Villanova's gone through. Here's Sadiq Bey. His jumper no good. Adams and Gilbert in transition. Gilbert off-balance shot. And Pascal with the rebound. Jay Wright told us that before the ballgame. He said, you'll see them come down and they'll take these off-balance shots. A lot of times they go in.
Yeah, well, they can make them. He had a pass to the wing, though, that would have been a much simpler play for him there.
Pascal dribbles it out of bounds.
Pascal trying to go one-on-one against Polly. And basically, upon contact, just lost the pumpkin there. Got to squeeze it against this team from UConn, because they'll usually turn turnovers into points, although that was a dead ball.
UConn coming off a victory against Drexel. Meanwhile, Villanova played very well last week against Kansas. Here's Adams, and Adams turns it over. Primo with Booth in transition, and the alley-oop is cut off. Villanova will get it back. Here's Primo, fakes the three. The extra pass for Bey for three, too strong. And Carlton with the rebound.
Love the shot quality there, though, because the ball moved.
3-point attempt from the outside for Adams is off the mark, and Bey. Sadiq Bey is a freshman from Sidwell Friends, and he's going to be a good player as the years move on for Villanova.
I agree with you. I like his athleticism. He's got good bounce and a pretty good-looking stroke, too.
3-2, Wildcats on top. Here comes Booth. Extra pass for Bey in the two-handed jam. Well, that's good recognition by Booth. That's one of the things that at practice on Thursday that Jay Wright talked about. He said, always have your head up. He said, we don't have our head up all the time, and if your head is up, you're going to be able to find the open man.
Yep.
Carlton has the pass cut off by Primo. Not a great entry pass.
Pretty good recognition on the weak side, though, by Primo.
Pascal tried the extra pass, and it was cut off by Polly. And a battle for the loose ball, and UConn comes out with it.
Bad numbers if they get it out of there.
Gilbert. He and Polly playing catch along the perimeter.
Nice job by Nova to get back.
And another turnover forced by the Wildcats. And a long pass. And a beautiful touch. Count the bucket as Cosby Roundtree will go to the free throw line.
Well, one of the things Dan Hurley was concerned about, his team's propensity to turn it over. Here you take a look at Booth, though, as Cosby Roundtree gets behind the defense, and a beautiful lead pass and a nice catch and finish by Cosby Roundtree.
Well, Phil Booth is checking out. It looked like he was limping a little bit, Clark, on one of the passes on the previous possession. Yaqua is in for UConn. Quinterly, the freshman, is in for the first time. His minutes should rise with the injury to Gillespie. And Cosby Roundtree converts the free throw.
Nice start here for the Wildcats.
3 turnovers, 1 for 3 on field goals so far for the Huskies. Well, the American has got some good teams this year and some good guards, and these three that UConn has, they're fairly special. Shot clock is under 10. Adams trying some isolation, and a three-pointer for Vital. It's good. Shot clock winding down, and Vital.
He stepped into that one with confidence, and here's the full court pressure. This is where you got to handle it well if you're Villanova.
Pretty good test for Quinterly.
Yep. Keep it simple and be strong with it.
Quinterly left side of the lane. Two freshmen on the floor for Villanova. Haskell for Primo. Shot fake, baseline jumper. It was partially touched, but he's able to nail it from 10 feet away.
Beautifully done that time by Primo. Got his defender to join the Paratroopers club, and an easy jump. And there's Polly right around Cosby Roundtree. That's a tough matchup for Cosby Roundtree. Not as comfortable outside of the paint defending a guy as mobile as Polly.
Yeah, Tyler Polly is sophomore, averaging 9 points per game. Primo posted up against Vital, and a pushing foul is called against Vital. Well, some pretty good action so far, Clark, offensively.
Yeah, it has been. Primo with the ball fake and the knockdown jumper, and then Polly right to the rack. Fairly snug here early at the Garden.
Villanova 3 for its last 3, leading at 10-7 with 15:05 to play in the first half. All right, it's the holiday season. Clark, what's on the holiday wish list for these two teams?
Man, I tell you what, let's take a peek here. Villanova's holiday with points in the paint from Cosby Roundtree. We've seen him get a bucket already. Trust the pass, make that extra pass, and then accelerated defensive vision. They've got to be able to see the play as it unfolds at the defensive end. UConn, the Huskies, take care of that orange already. 3 turnovers, a gear shifter. Every now and then I think they rush. They've got to slow it down. And then a little seasoning for Sidney Wilson. He's only played 6 games. This will be his 7th whenever he enters the lineup. And he's shown some potential with his energy, his bounce. I think he gives that Huskies team a nice injection off the bench.
We just saw both of the head coaches. We talked to both of them before the ball game, and their perspective on their respective teams was pretty clear. And a traveling violation called on Phil Booth. So
that is, excuse me, Tom, but that's an example. As you look at Dan Hurley there, that's an example of what the officials are really looking at now. Finding the pivot foot. Really doing a nice job calling the walks that sometimes get overlooked in today's game.
Yeah, J.D. Collins sent out some video this week talking about that same thing. Another missed shot off the back of the iron. Here come the Wildcats. Each team with 3 turnovers. Gilbert covering Quinterly. It's a neat matchup. Quinterly has it knocked away, and he'll go to the free throw line. Javon Quinterly, a McDonald's All-American, hasn't played as much as he would like. But he's getting a chance now. And, John, one of the things that Jay Wright has talked about with Quinterly is just fundamentally being sound when he's on the floor.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, Tom, and we're obviously seeing a big stage today at Madison Square Garden. The big stage is nothing new to Javon Quinterly. He played for the prestigious Sports U AAU program. His teammates, Luther Muhammad of Ohio State, Lewis King of Oregon, and Naz Reid of LSU. So he's used to the bright lights, Tom.
I will say that at practice the other day, I was really impressed with his speed. Now, what Jay Wright was talking about, the fundamentals, is not making that fancy pass, making the right pass. And he stopped practice the other day when he tried to make that fancy pass, and it was turned over.
Keep it simple. Oh, tough shot that time by Jalen Adams. Kept that dribble alive. Knocked down that fadeaway jumper. And here's the full court pressure. Dan Hurley said he'd like to see his team pick up full court and really try to grind down the Villanova backcourt.
Terrence Smith, the transfer from Duquesne, the grad transfer in the game for the first time, and an offensive foul called on Haskell. That's the 21st charge drawn by UConn this season. They are certainly stepping up when it comes to that.
Well, Polly very alert off the ball, recognized that Pascal was looking to drive it, beat him to the spot, and took the charge. Couldn't quite tell if he got outside of that restricted
area. But apparently the officials deemed he was. And so too did our producer, so it's a good call.
Terrence Smith up top, covered by Quinterly. He had a big game against Drexel. Smith to the basket, count the bucket. Well, the grad transfer from Duquesne, who played for Dan Hurley's father in high school at St. Anthony, has had himself a pretty good impact these last couple of games.
Boy, has he ever. Terrific job here getting his body into Cosby Roundtree and then concentrating on the finish. You know, he's shooting 61% on his two-point field goals, Tom. Just 18 from the three-point line, so he's looking to drive it.
Not able to convert that three-point play. We're tied up at 11. A little more than 6 minutes into the first half of our triple header here on CBS today. Smith covering Booth up top. Rushes off the screen. Ball is deflected out of bounds by Cosby Roundtree. So 4 turnovers now for the Wildcats.
Well, you talked about it at the top, you and John both. Gillespie not being able to play. You wonder if the pressure that UConn applies on the point guard will wear down Booth over the course of this ball game. Keep an eye on that because Booth doesn't have an opportunity to be off the ball as much.
Looking for a sports network without yelling and hot takes? Try CBS Sports HQ, the 24/7 network committed to making you a smarter fan. Just news, stats, highlights, picks, and fantasy advice. Always on, always free. Watch on the CBS Sports app now. All right, so both teams with 4 turnovers. 7 minutes into this first half. All those turnovers, there's been a lack of rhythm offensively. Haskell double teams. That's been happening a lot. Shot clock under 10. Quinterly for 3, and it's an air ball. And you wonder how that affects him. I know John mentioned that he's used to the bright lights, but we're at the world's most famous arena, and he's getting some valuable playing time.
Excellent point, and something to keep an eye on. You never quite know until you're in the show how guys are going to respond.
Sidney Wilson in for the first time. Here's Vitale, who had a 3 earlier. And Vitale splits the defense, heads to the hoop, and lays it in. And UConn with its first lead, up 13-11.
Jay Wright talked to us before the game about being concerned about dealing with these guards in ball screen situations. They've got a number of ways to cover it. That time they were too spread out, and he was able to split it and get all the way to the rim.
Practice the other day, he ran a little 1-3-1 and a little 2-3. I doubt he'll use a lot of that today. There's Quinterly. Along the baseline, pass is cut off. Vitale read it beautifully. Adams. Pull-up jumper is no good. Well, he had a clean shot.
Good quality shot. Early offense for your leading scorer. A shot that he likes to take and makes more times than not. Can't be mad at that.
Haskell trying to force a shot, and it's off the front of the rim. Oh, look at it. UConn in transition, and Wilson with the jam. And a timeout called by Villanova. A little hop in the step for the UConn Huskies. Here's Vitale cutting to the basket. And then the steal on the opposite end. And how about the dunk from the talented Sidney Wilson? 4-point lead for UConn. 11:23 to play here in the first half. You know, this is a big game for both of these programs. Both teams have guys that hail from this area. From a recruiting standpoint, John Rothstein, this is a big-time place for UConn to be in at this moment.
No, Tom, it's absolutely massive. Villanova has dominated the Northeast Corridor over the last 5 or so years in recruiting. They've won 2 national championships. A win today would do wonders for Dan Hurley and the UConn staff, where it matters most in college basketball, on the recruiting trail, Tom.
Yeah, he likes the class that's coming in next year. In fact, I thought, Clark, you asked Dan today about some of the things that he's taken with him with each of the rebuilds that he's had. And I thought his answer was outstanding, and he was quick with it too, basically saying you kind of embrace everybody because you know that it's starting over for the university.
No question about it. Yeah, I agree with you in terms of how he answered that. We want to try to build with what we have and make sure everybody's a part of that going forward.
Grebo checks back into the ball game, so Quinterly is back out, and Booth will run the point. Here's Booth going right to the rim, and it's goaltending. It's goaltending, but it also shows the athleticism that is on this UConn roster. I mean, Sidney Wilson, not only that dunk, but also getting back defensively there.
Yeah, he's got length and bounce and pretty good agility. And here you take a look. That ball gets on the glass before Sidney gets a piece of it. Easy call for the official there.
So the lead is 2 for Villanova. It's the first points in 3 minutes. I think Wilson thought about an alley-oop to Terrence Smith, but he was cut off by Bay. Here's Wilson, right side of the lane, short. Adams with the rebound. Shot clock did not reset. It's down to 2. I don't think UConn realizes that they do not, and that'll be a turnover. Brandon Adams, the freshman from Baltimore. I think he was the last guy who really had a chance to distribute or shoot before the shot clock.
Failure to recognize there, and another turnover. There you see the numbers piling up on both sides here in the first 9 minutes.
Yeah, again, Villanova playing without its starting point guard, Colin Gillespie, who is out with a concussion.
He had been really good he's been good all season, really looked good the last couple of games. 2-to-1 assist ratio on the season. And also it scored 36 points in his last 2 games.
The officials right now are just taking a peek because the horn didn't go off. The light went off on the backboard. Take a listen and take a view of it. Don Daly, Jim Gaffney taking a look at it. So the horn never went off, so they want to make sure that the horn is rectified. So they're winding the clock right now down as we speak, just to run it through again. So this gives both teams a chance to chat a little bit. Wednesday on CBS, join the All-Star celebration honoring Reba McEntire, Cher, Wayne Shorter, Philip Glass, and the creators of Hamilton. Gloria Estefan hosts the Kennedy Center Honors Wednesday at 8/7 Central. Only CBS. All right, so the officials ran the clock down. The horn didn't go off again. And I think they're just informing both coaching staffs now that the light is going off, but that they're going to be a little more cognizant of it. And it'll just be the whistle. So 10:41 to play here in the first half, and UConn with a 2-point lead. Has the game been what you expected so far, Clark?
Competitive and entertaining. The turnovers a few more than either team would like, but otherwise these are even match teams, Tom. I mean, both desperate for a non-conference win in the finale before conference play starts. Excited and anxious about being at the Garden, so I think we're going to have one that's going to be tight throughout. I really do.
Jay Wright shared with us earlier today that he was given some great advice by a former Villanova coach years ago. He said, "No, make sure you schedule a cupcake before Christmas break." And Jay goes, "I haven't really done that."
Well, the run that Villanova has had over the last 5 years has afforded him the opportunity to not worry about that.
That's very true.
One of the spectacular runs in college basketball history, the last 5 for the Villanova Wildcats.
Here's Grebo. And Grebo's going to be called for the offensive foul.
A little too much body bumping there against good position defensively by Vital. See, he's there solid, moving his feet. There's a bump. Oh, that was... The letter of the law, yes.
Yes.
The spirit, perhaps, we could have been playing on.
The spirit of the game. There's UConn against the man-to-man defense for Villanova. Vital. And a traveling violation. So 6 turnovers now for each team.
Vital just loses his footing and thus travels with the ball.
Yeah, let me correct that, Clark. 7 turnovers for Villanova, 6 for UConn. With under 10 minutes to play in the first half. trying to erase back-to-back losing seasons in Dan Hurley's first year. Primo, and that shot is blocked. The rebound, though, by Crosby Roundtree, and he's out of bounds. It'll be UConn basketball.
What a terrific play that time by Yaqua and Wilson. I thought Primo was free for an easy one after he lost Vital, but Yaqua came and got it, and then Wilson did the same. Well, you talked about the athleticism on full display right there.
Yeah, and they can run different athletes in the middle of that paint. UConn spreading it out. Wilson up top for three off the front of the rim. And again, it's just a 2-point lead for the Huskies. Here come the Wildcats. Booth into the paint. Extra pass for Pascal. Good.
That's beautiful basketball right there. Beat the defender, force help, and then find the open guy.
Here comes Smith trying to answer. Blocked away by Pascal. We're getting the big man involved. Pascal pull up three. No good this time. And Wilson will rip down the board. Here come the Huskies in transition. Vital, Wilson, all discombobulated, but now pull up from the free throw line and no good. Oh, he was wide open for that jumper.
Just overshot it. Sometimes that mid-range, Jay, is the hardest one to get the right touch on.
Swider's about to check in for Villanova. Adams about to check back in with Gilbert, who has 2 fouls. And Booth with a little slip pass. Cosby Roundtree not able to get it off as it was blocked away again. Pascal to Cosby Roundtree. Well, that time he was a little more patient.
Yep. And then he went with 2 hands. Good penetration, though, by Booth to get that offensive set started.
See how tough it is, though, inside with Wilson and Yaqua, though?
They cover a lot of ground and get off their feet quickly.
Terrence Smith under the basket. Vital takes a peek up at the shot clock. Off the screen by Yaqua. Vital for 3. It's kind of reminiscent of that Syracuse game that Jay Wright said he had nightmares about.
They can make tough shots now.
Yes, they can.
They'll take some bad ones, but they can make some challenge shots.
Tied up at 18. Pascal in front of the UConn bench. And here come the Huskies. Vital right to the basket, off the glass, and an offensive foul is called. Primo was able to get position. 7:20 to play here in the first half. Vital has 2. Gilbert has 2 fouls. And we're tied up at 18. Here's Vital. He can hit it from anywhere on the floor for 3. Well, let's take a look at the Jersey Mike's game summary. 8 turnovers for Villanova, 7 for UConn. But the points off turnovers haven't come quickly.
They have not converted those turnovers into points, either team. And typically UConn, they convert. They average 20 points a game off turnovers.
Well, how about Christian Vital and how his range has really developed?
He's a dynamic scorer. He actually gives it to you at both ends of the floor, but he's aggressive, always in attack mode. And when he's under control, Tom, he can put up numbers in a hurry. And he's made all 3 of his shots, a drive and a pair of 3s. But I love the energy and motor that he plays with. He's got the 2 fouls, so he'll be sitting now, it appears, as Jalen Adams comes back in. But CV making it happen thus far.
Yeah, he's got 2. Gilbert has 2, but Gilbert is back on the floor and has been for the last couple of minutes.
Well, Dan Hurley expecting him to be able to play effectively with the 2 fouls.
And Vital is out with 8 points. He's the UConn's leading scorer, 8 of the 18 for the Huskies. Good full-court pressure by the Huskies. Swider in for the first time. Swider can shoot it. Primo a little out of control into a triple team. And here comes Gilbert off the turnover. Never thought about that 3. He does have range from out there as well, shooting at 43% from beyond the arc. This is what UConn will do. They'll spread it out offensively. Adams high off the glass. It's good.
Beautiful shot there. recognized the mismatch. He's got a foot speed advantage on Cremo and took advantage of it.
Dan Hurley has really challenged Jalen Adams this year. Challenged him every single practice, every single game. And there's another goaltending. As Josh Carlton got his fingertips on that Phil Booth shot. There's no doubt that Jalen Adams has the ability, Clark, to be one of the best guards in the country.
Yeah, he's just not uber assertive all the time, which is something he's got to work on because he's got all of the skills and the package to put up big numbers, averaging 17 a game, but he's the kind of guy that can go for 25
Absolutely.
to 30 when he hunts his shot aggressively.
Dan Hurley challenged him today. He said, you know, we're playing Villanova. Villanova's had some great guards, particularly over the last 5-6 years. He said, I'm challenging you to leave this floor as the best guard in today's game.
Yep. And when you're playing an evenly matched opponent with the pedigree of Villanova, you oftentimes would need your best player to rise up to his best level.
6 minutes to play in the first half. Gilbert for 3. It's good. Boy, he created that all by himself with that extra dribble.
Well, you have to respect his ability to go by you. And with that quickness and the hard dribble into the shot, that's what got him lifted above the defender there.
It's one of the things that Villanova was practicing the other day at practice because of what Clark said, respecting the 3, but also respecting the drive. Bay, fadeaway jumper, no good. Saved along the baseline by the Huskies. Here comes Adams to the corner. 3-pointer for Polley is an air ball. Actually, it grazed the backside of the rim. UConn now 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Booth, nice through the defense, lost control, another turnover, and a foul is going to be called against Cosby Roundtree. Well, this is one of the things that's special when you watch UConn, the ability to make the 3 off the defense.
Yeah, the little crossover dribble created the space and good elevation on the shot. And then Booth had a split, but just over dribbled it, kind of like a guy in soccer with a 2-forward touch. Same thing happened there to Booth, and here come the Huskies.
Way to broaden your sports horizons, Clark.
Oh yeah, I love that's basketball without your hands. Soccer, it really is. Switching the field and the skill level of the players, physicality without collision. They're the same game.
Under 5 to play in the first half. And Pascal steals it away. Here comes Booth, back to Pascal. Watch out! And the lead is 1 for the Huskies.
I tell you what, Booth doing a pretty solid job handling the extra burden of running the point here in this first half. The turnover's a little high, but that was well done in transition off the turnover.
And now the Huskies try to answer, leading it by 1. Gilbert bumps into the defense, finds a 3-pointer for Terrence Smith.
Really nice jump stop that time by Gilbert. He was on balance and knew what his option was in that right side corner. And found Smith.
Villanova wanted to travel, but that was clean all the way through.
Yep.
Cosby Roundtree caught at the free throw line. Not a great spot. Ball was tapped, so he's able to dribble again. Shot clock at 7. Cosby Roundtree is fouled along the left side of the lane.
Good action here at the world's most famous arena. Eric Pascal looking into the basket on that throwdown. Penetration and pinch, Terrence Smith. That is a splash.
Rothstein, we've seen athleticism through the roof for Tyler Polley so far.
Well, guys, you know, Dan Hurley told me at an August practice, he also told me this week that Tyler Polley in the entire 4 position could be the X factor for UConn in the American Conference. To have a pick and pop 4-man that you can blend with Adams, Gilbert, and Smith, that could be a game changer to UConn on offense with spacing, Tom.
The fact that he can play all these different positions at his size is huge in this game.
Yeah, it allows you to be effective defensively playing small ball in addition to the versatility you get on offense.
There's Quinterly for 3. That might relax the young fellow a little bit.
No doubt. Anytime you can get one to go down. He's only played 69 minutes coming into today's game in the prior 12, so a great opportunity for him to get some seasoning.
That's his first point since the Canisius game, which was back in November 22nd. Bill Booth thought about a three, and there's a traveling violation. All right, here's Quinterly's three again.
Good balance here and patience. Used the ball fake, was not in a hurry, and knocked it down.
Jay Wright told us the other day, he said with Quinterly, he said when we were recruiting him, we told him there were going to have to be changes to his game. And he was on board. He said he has worked hard.
Yep.
He said on other teams, he probably would get more minutes and they could live with his mistakes. He said, but with this team, it's hard for me to allow him to play through those mistakes at this point.
Kind of been forced to give him some time here today with Gillespie being out.
There's Follow. That's what John was just talking about. Beautiful shot down toward the baseline. 3-point lead for the Huskies. Haskell getting double teamed up top. Slider for three. It's too strong. And now Adams up the floor. Adams splitting the defense as he's coming down. Well, that's what he can do.
Yep. And they've got a couple of guys, him, Mattel, Gilbert. That was Jay Wright's concern, the ability of those three to go get baskets even against good defense.
Quinterly, speedy the hoop off the glass, another goaltending. That's number 3 for UConn. Stanley Wilson called for the goaltending. So a 3-point game, it's 30-27. Coming up on AT&T at the app, Adam Zucker and Seth Davis will have first half analysis. They'll get you caught up on the other action around the country and preview the upcoming CBS Sports Classic games, Ohio State, UCLA, and Kentucky and North Carolina. Clark's going to get to the studios by halftime for that CBS Sports Classic game.
Yes, sir. Get to watch the alma mater take on UCLA, and then North Carolina, a certain Final Four type team against Kentucky, much like these two teams, in a bit of transition at this point in the season.
Shot clock is down to 4. Darren Smith off the top of the backboard. UConn is 6 for its last 9 now. The lead is 3. Booth for 3. Got it! And we are all tied up at 30, and Dan Hurley's going to use the use it or lose it timeout. Without Colin Gillespie, Villanova has found itself even with UConn here at the Garden.
Huskies defenders backpedaling to this area. That's Booth I circled. He's going to step right into the 3, and I love the fact there's no hesitation. Catch on balance and let it fly. And he got the result he wanted. Excellent job that time by Villanova. Very simple play. Defenders backpedaling. You get a trailing shooter stepping into that 3. That's one you take because you got the board covered. And Booth is an excellent 3-point shooter.
Yeah, Dan Hurley told us before the ball game, and this is always the case when it comes to Villanova. His big concern was defending that 3-point line. Here's Smith, pull-up jumper is no good. It pinballed in and out, and a whistle blows and a foul call. Pascal will be called for the foul. That's his second.
Yeah, Tom, he was doing what I call the lower body root canal. You can box a guy out, but you can't root him out. Watch him. He's going to get his body on, and then he's going to lean into him and root him out. You see that? Yeah, that's a clear, easy foul.
So it's a fresh 30 for the Huskies.
Little zone defense
little zone
by
for Villanova. Said the other day they worked on a 1-3-1 and a 2-3. Samuel's in. He's number 23 for the Wildcats. Here's Adams. He thought about a baseline jumper. It's cut off, though.
Good help by Pascal to force that turnover.
Yeah, 9 turnovers now for UConn. For Villanova, there's a difference between 9 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock. Here's Pascal. Pascal Bumps his way to the basket. It's another offensive foul. That's his third personal foul. And foul trouble is always a concern when you don't have a lot of big men, and that's a concern right now for Nova.
I thought Pascal had a shot earlier, but he's trying to take one more dribble and he lowers that shoulder. It's a hard thing not to do when you're on the drive, but if he could just drive it and keep his body straight up and not lean in, then I think the defender's backpedaling and he'd still have the space for the shot.
So he's on the bench now with 5 points, 3 fouls. Again, he got in foul trouble against Kansas as well, but Villanova was able to overcome that and make it a game. So now UConn will hold it for one final shot. Gilbert back in. He and Adams playing catch up top. Game clock at 4. Step back for Adams for 3. It's an air ball out of bounds. And Villanova with 1.4 to play. They bring Quinterly back in. Cosby Roundtree back in. Quinterly out. And it's Cremo who's going to initiate the inbounds. Now they're going to talk about it. And Jay Wright is letting Jim Gaffney know that there are 3 fouls on Eric Pascal. He just wants to remind him that his big man has 3 personal fouls. As the officials will take a look at the video. They want to see when the ball goes out of bounds to make sure the clock is right at 1.4.
Well, let's take a look.
There was a high arc on that shot.
Yeah, it should be right about two seconds yet, because that ball went out of bounds. It didn't bounce out of bounds. It landed out of bounds. So the shot clock should be right at 1:09.2.1, somewhere in there.
Which is a lot of time.
Yeah, that is. That's exactly right. It makes a difference. Another 0.6 of a second, which I think is where we'll end up. 5 to 7/10 of a second added. Because again, this ball lands out of bounds. Now, had it bounced inbounds and then gone out, it would have been another few tenths of a second that would have gone off. But that ball, because it landed out.
All right, so
there we go.
Yep, 2 and 1/10 seconds.
Yep.
2.1 on the clock.
There you see Jay Wright just said it. You catch in one dribble. That's about all you have. But you got to make this pass. This is the key. You've got to get this pass down the court. Or you'd like to get it down the court, somewhere near the half-court line if you could.
All right, so the officials have the clock straightened out.
And if you're UConn, make them catch it in front, in the backcourt. You don't want that thing caught at half-court or beyond.
And they've got Wilson defending the inbound. Booth has it. He'll dribble once, and he does not get the shot off. And that is the end of the first half. Villanova 30, UConn 30. Eric Pascal in foul trouble with 3 personal fouls. He scored only 5 points in the first half. Villanova will have to deal with that in the second half. John Rothstein's with Dan Hurley. John?
Coach, you challenge your team to be more desperate than Villanova. How do you think they've responded?
We've played hard, obviously, doing a great job defensively, all over the backboard, taking charges, blocking shots. We just got to do a little bit better job on offense. We'll have a real chance.
Jalen Adams with a solid all-around first half. How does he go from solid to spectacular in the next 20 minutes?
Well, for us to win, he's going to have to get some serious buckets in the second half here. But he's showing up with a lot of grit and determination. And as a leader, that's how you got to show up in games like this.
Good luck in the second half. Tom?
6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for Adams. Villanova 30, Connecticut 30. Now let's go to Adam Zucker here in New York.
All right, thanks, Tom. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Seth joins me for scores and highlights, plus a preview of the CBS Sports Classic featuring 3 top 20 teams after this.
CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. Try our game day menu. By Progressive. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com. And by Smile Direct Club, delivering straighter, brighter smiles for less. Well, these two teams have 11 combined Big East titles here at Madison Square Garden. Right now, it's a non-conference matchup with Villanova and UConn even at 30. Hi, everybody. Tom McCarthy along with Clark Kellogg. We'll hear from John Rothstein in just a little bit. All right, what stands out in the first half?
Well, despite the turnovers, both of these teams have shot the ball well, both from the field and the three-point line, so the shooting percentages have been good. The turnovers, the key is going to be, I think, for Villanova to maintain this pace, for UConn to try to speed up the pace.
Well, one thing that has really stood out has been the distribution for Villanova. Their passing has been excellent. They have turned it over 12 times. Let's take a look at these Dove Men's Plus Care first half stats. 11 fast break points for Villanova.
Yep, and usually that's the game that UConn wins. And Bill Booth was a guy we had our isolated camera on because he was going to have more of a workload at the point guard position today. Did commit some turnovers, but he's been outstanding otherwise. Knocking down shots, has not missed a shot yet. Perfect from the floor, and also has 5 assists. So an excellent first half, I thought, from Bill Booth in the added role of running the point for that first 20 minutes. And there you see, and he spread it out, 2 at the rim and a couple of threes.
Well, Villanova averaging 13.3 assists per game, 9th in the Big East. They have 9 in the first half. How was Jay Wright, John Rothstein?
Well, Jay Wright had a simple message for his team in the locker room, guys. Take care of the basketball. They're giving UConn too many extra opportunities. He also noted very pleased with the production of Javon Quinterly, Tom.
Yeah, Quinterly after a slow start, and I thought it was a slow start, which maybe you expect, you know, being in this atmosphere. That 3, I think, really helped him ease himself back into this ballgame. 12 field goals made for Villanova as UConn will inbound to begin the second half. Polley will get things started, and Gilbert with 2 personal fouls will run the point for the Huskies. Reminder too that Pascal has 3 fouls for Villanova. Villanova, of course, playing without Colin Gillespie. Their starting point guard is out with a concussion. Here's Vital for 3. No good off the front of the rim. It looked good when it left his hands. And Bay with the rebound. Give credit to Booth, though, as Clark talked about, the fact that he is running the point, but also scoring, too, with being smart in every way.
Nice cut, he's loose.
Clock down under 10. Primo. Here's Bay, and Bay called for the traveling violation. That's what Clark talked about before. The emphasis on which is the pivot foot, making sure they see.
Yep, good call again by the officials. And as I watch games across the country, it's been pretty good in terms of calling those subtle walks that oftentimes go overlooked.
And a foul called on Cosby Roundtree getting into the grill. That's the 3rd foul on Cosby Roundtree.
Yeah, you just don't want to. I mean, you're in good position there, Tom. Just be active with your hands.
Yep.
Trace the ball. You don't have to get physical. Just trace the ball. He's too close to him, and he's overzealous and picks up a cheap one.
Yeah, you saw his hands on the chest of Josh Carlton. Adams hedged out. Gilbert didn't realize he had Charlton underneath. Here comes Adams, shot clock at 5. Adams, tough shot. And the rebound pulled down by Cosby Roundtree. All right, so a quiet first minute. And now a turnover for Villanova. Adams will leave it for Polley. Polley to the basket. Wow, how about that body control? No good, but Carlton's there. Charlton's there to clean it up.
I didn't think Polley could get there, and he did.
Nope.
And got a decent shot up on the rim, and that created the opportunity on the miss for Carlton to get the putback.
Yeah, Carlton, good presence of mind to know where that ball was on the cylinder. And now the foul on Booth, who will go to the free throw line to finish off a 3-point play. All right, so watch Carlton on this follow.
Well, you get breakdown penetration as Polley does a nice job of getting to the rim and avoiding the contact. And then there you see Carlton, quickest off the floor there. And then Booth, after turning it over on the prior possession, I love the aggressiveness to come right back at it and get to the rim.
So Villanova has retaken the lead by 1.
Well, this pace favors Villanova, as Seth Davis said in the studio. Villanova wants to play at about 45, 55 miles an hour. UConn at its best needs to go about 65 or more.
Well, what did Jay Wright tell us the other day at practice? He said, I want to be vertical. I want to be vertical more than horizontal, but I want to be able to make good decisions while being vertical. And that's off the fingertips of Carlton, out of bounds.
A little off the mark, but that is a pass you expect your big guy to handle. But the dead ball turnover gives UConn a chance to get into the full court. Man-to-man pressure.
Pascal, the big man, bringing the ball up the floor for the Wildcats. Pascal right to the basket, strong, and he can't get it to go.
Nice defensive job by Carlton.
Adams to Gilbert. Gilbert offsets Bill Booth and comes in with a nice little teardrop along the baseline. 34-33, Huskies on top.
Different guys handling the ball now for Villanova on these last couple of possessions to give Booth a little bit of a break from having to go baseline to baseline.
How about that, Pascal? Yeah, he could have really ripped that rim down, but he went in nice and soft off the pass from Cosby Roundtree at a timeout, or technical, I believe, called on Jay Wright. Jay Wright called for the technical foul.
Wow, I don't know what got his dander up. Not quite sure.
It was Jim Gaffney who called the technical foul. So 2 shots for Adams.
In addition to freedom of movement, finding the pivot foot, and also bench decorum and sportsmanlike conduct, areas of emphasis for the officials.
So now a 1-point lead. This was after the technical foul was called.
Well, take your lip readers off, young folks, if you can.
Well, now UConn will get the basketball back. That's an important swing. You know, it's a 1-point lead right now for the Huskies. But they can add to this with this particular offensive play. Gilbert doing a little peeking. Nearly lost the basketball and does. Out of bounds. It'll be Villanova basketball.
Yeah, it went off of Gilbert. Good aggressive double team that time as he got to the baseline. I like this move by Villanova to have other guys handle the ball because it takes some pressure off of Booth, and it spaces the floor a little bit because you've got big guys away from the goal for UConn defensively.
It also gives Booth a chance to maybe shoot a 3.
Yep. Be in position to receive the pass instead of making the pass.
That was a flop by Gilbert. Here's Primo for 3. It's good. First 3 for Primo since the St. Joe's game on the 8th of December, but that's his specialty. The grad transfer from the University of Albany. In 3 years at Albany, he scored almost 1,500 points.
And he's shooting 44% from the three-point line this season.
Adams to the basket and bumped under the hoop. It's Primo's second foul. All right, here's the bump.
Yeah, good no call. And then 2 guys on 1, actually 3 guys on 1. That's why Primo was wide open.
Good decision by Quinterly not to take that shot and pass it off.
Oh, without a doubt. He had a good look. Primo's was premium.
Under 16 to play. Ball tipped and a turnover forced by the Wildcats. Here's Booth, and Booth is fouled by Gilbert out front. And that'll be Gilbert's 3rd personal foul. Well, it's been as good as we expected. Back and forth we go. UConn and Villanova. We'll see what happens as we roll through. Now Villanova with the lead, 38-36 over the UConn Huskies. Monday on CBS, hang out with TV's funniest neighbors in the new hit comedy starring Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield. The Neighborhood back-to-back episodes begin Monday at 8/7 Central. Only CBS. Well, out of this timeout, both teams chatting for one last moment. John Rossi, what's going on with Jay Wright over there?
Well, Jay Wright just had to be restrained by assistant Kyle Neptune. He continued to talk to the officials. He was very upset about that technical foul assessed to the Villanova bench. The Villanova bench then responded in the huddle with a vibrant acceptance of their coach, and they talked about getting better defensively, being in the help when UConn's guards got into the teeth of the defense, Tom.
Yeah, Jay Wright told us before the ball game, and I've talked to Jay a lot over the last several months just about this team and about his program. He said things are different at Villanova. You know, guys left that they didn't expect to, and he's really happy for them. Dante DiVincenzo, Amari Spellman. They expected Jalen Brunson to leave, obviously, because he graduated. They figured that Bridges would leave as well, but they've had to overcome that.
Yep. Yeah, the season doesn't stop because you lose players.
Right.
You have to continue to work and make do, and it does change the dynamics of your team, though, and that happens every year. But
right.
when you think about how you build your roster and you're anticipating certain guys to be there, then the other pieces around them change, and they're now accelerated in roles that maybe they wouldn't have had at this point in their career.
Well, Quinterly makes the free throw after drawing the foul. So speaking of the success that Villanova has had, so the 2018 National Championship game, these are the guys that are on the roster right now. Look what they scored in that championship game.
Yeah. Well, this is a new look.
Yep. One make, one miss for Quinterly.
And they're doing a solid job controlling the pace. And now trying to keep the defense tight and deal with those explosive guards of UConn.
Quinterly covering Adams. Adams breaks away. That extra pass to the corner, and the three grazes the bottom of the net by Terrence Smith. Villanova's lead is at 3, and Pascal can extend it here. And a hand-checking foul is going to be called on Polly. So now shot clock is at 20. Sadiq Bey will check back in for Villanova. He'll be in for Cosby Roundtree. We met Sadiq's high school coach today, Eric Singletary, who's here watching. Also Coach Josh Hart at Sidwell Friends.
And played his college basketball at Rice for Willis Wilson. And I think way back in the day, I covered one of his games.
Primo was a receiver for a moment, made a good catch, but then Adams' defense and Vitale's defense forced the turnover off the foot.
Sometimes just being in the neighborhood can create a mistake. And that's just a case where Primo dribbled it off his foot, but Vitale being there, part of making that happen.
Yeah, that was all Vitale. Adams was just there to congratulate him. Here's Adams off the inbounds. 15 minutes to play in the second half.
I think he's got to be much more aggressive in trying to create offense for himself.
Adams picked up by Pascal. Size mismatch down low. And Quinterly called for the foul. Quinterly was down with Yaqua, and UConn just couldn't get it to him. Pretty special for a lot of these players to play here at Madison Square Garden. Obviously, Villanova's used to it. For Dan Hurley, he was used to it when he played at Seton Hall, but to grow up in Jersey City and to coach here with his dad a couple rows behind him, that's pretty special also. Here's Adams in the paint, and Pascal rips down the board. Nova's lead is 3. Quinterly for 3. No good. And Yaqua with the board. Yaqua not as many minutes tonight as he had against Drexel. Played very well against Drexel. Smith played excellent against Drexel and misses that one off the side of the rim.
Yeah, pulled the trigger on it a bit. Maybe ill-advised, and I think he may be coming out after that look. Gilbert at the scorer's table. Villanova very content just to play crawl ball.
Here's Booth. between his legs. Foul going up. He'll get 2 fouls. 2 shots, and Jay Wright wants to see if there's a goaltending there. Next Saturday, starting at 5:30 Eastern, CBS Sports Network brings you a college hoops doubleheader, tipping off with 16th-ranked Wisconsin battling Western Kentucky, followed by Oregon visiting Boise State at 7:30. All right, so Booth back to the free throw line. He is 1 for 1 today. First free throw is good. What's up, John Rothstein?
Well, guys, Dan Hurley and Jay Wright have a long-standing relationship. Jay Wright recruited Corey Stokes from Dan Hurley when he was at St. Benedict's Prep. And also, when Dan Hurley was building Rhode Island's program, he studied tapes of Villanova to learn more about the four-guard offense and also read countless articles about the Wildcats culture. So, as Dan Hurley builds UConn in a lot of ways, he's trying to emulate Villanova, Tom.
Yeah, one of the things that Dan Hurley talked about when he took over is that he immediately showed his team the Villanova game that his team played against last year. Here's Quinterly off the steal and the bounce pass to Booth, who lays it in. And Villanova's built its largest lead of the game, 43-36. 13:38 to play in the second half. The Wildcats on a run. Time now for our AT&T Fast Analysis. Clark, take it away.
Tell you what, Villanova doing a nice job slow walking themselves out to this 7-point lead. Good full court pressure here. Quinterly alert on the errant pass, and then just a nice solid play to get it to Booth. And there you see the excitement. These guys are hyped up. They've got their largest lead of the game, and that twosome right there has done a really solid job, Tom, at handling the point guard position in the absence of Gillespie today.
Yeah, Gillespie out with a concussion. Quinterly, a highly touted recruit for Villanova. You see, he's very slightly built. They want to get him stronger. They want to get him physically sounder and you know, fundamentally sound as well.
Takes time. I'll tell you what, he's taken a nice step so far today with this increased role. He's done himself well. Zone defense here by Villanova. This
like
pace is really, yeah, I do, because the pace has bothered UConn, and they're out of sync and out of rhythm here in the first few minutes.
There's Dan Hurley. John, you were just peeking inside Dan Hurley's huddle. What did he say?
Yeah, Tom, Dan Hurley very emotional to his team about not playing hero ball. Share the basketball, move it around, get higher percentage shots. A little bit too much freelancing for Coach Hurley's liking right now, Tom.
He talked to us before the ball game. That's an offensive foul called on Sadiq Bey. Joe Lindsay made the call as Vitale was able to get position.
It's really a case where if Bey doesn't have something right away, the double bump gets him the foul. One bump, and if you can't make a move, then get the ball moved over to the other side and then maybe repost.
Yeah, that's a good point because he did allow the first bump. Back to the zone for Villanova. Adams at the free throw line. Gilbert, and Gilbert dragged his foot.
Lost his pivot. Yeah, you've got to get into those seams, and you've got to be very quick and sharp in your attack and have a plan as to what you're looking for when you attack against the zone. You can't go in there undecided.
Again, Pascal's been bringing the ball up often in the second half.
I love that move because what it's done, it's taken some of that burden off of Phil Booth, and it's lifted the shot blockers of UConn out above the three-point line.
And Pascal can do that. He nails the three-pointer. It's a 10-point lead.
Yeah, terrific strategic move by Jay Wright in this second half.
It's an 11-0 run for the Wildcats. And another turnover forced by the Villanova zone. Here comes Booth, peeking, and he's fouled on the floor. I think Villanova, and I know they have a 10-point lead, they're on a fantastic run right now, but they are being more aggressive in this second half.
Selectively so. Defensively, they are doing a nice job, but they are attacking off the dribble. You're exactly right.
25 on the shot clock. Yakwe checks back in for UConn. As Sidney Wilson checks out. Primo's back in for Villanova. Cosby Roundtree, right side of the lane, caught in the paint. Quinterly for three, and it went half halfway down and came out. Here come the Huskies. Here's the towel.
Nova doing such a good job getting back. Nothing available in transition for UConn.
Adams step back jumper from 17 off the back of the iron.
And no second shot opportunities either.
Yeah, UConn's gone nearly 6 minutes since the last field goal. There'll be a foul on Adams.
Well, it's all Villanova here in the second half. Eric Pascal, he's got 3 fouls, but he said, give me all 3 of those. Nova up by 10.
CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by America's Navy. Sailors aren't born, they're forged. By Sonic. This is how you Sonic. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. Well, that was back in the 1995 Big East Championship. It's the only time these two teams had faced each other in the Big East Championship. UConn now in the American. They won 7 Big East titles here at Madison Square Garden. Villanova has won 4. We said UConn's in the American. The American Conference has got some really good teams this year. Villanova, and Jay Wright told us before the ball game, he said, you know, somebody gave me that stat. And he pointed to me or Mike Sheridan, his SID. And he goes, those are really different teams that were 16-1 in the last 17 games played here.
Yeah, those numbers are more a function of who versus where.
Right.
And he had some terrific teams and players, but this group and this man in particular having a standout day, particularly here in the second half. I mean, Booth was excellent in the first half and has continued that brilliance here in the second. And they'll be shooting free throws, Tom.
Right.
The rest of the way on common fouls.
Yeah, a little different story than the first half.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of fouls. I mean, there were a couple of guys with 2 and Pascal had 3. Booth is still perfect on the day. Uh-oh. He gets the rebound, though.
And another opportunity for Villanova. Boy, they've executed really nicely here in this second half.
Yeah, they give up the shot, extra passes, Cremo for 3. It's a 14-point lead.
Does not get any better than that. Off the rebound of a missed free throw, and then trusted the pass.
It's kind of what you talked about in the open today. You know, not being too quick, seeing if there's something else. Here comes Pascal. Look out, boys. And he is foul going up. That's a good foul by Yahweh.
Yep.
All right, watch this ball movement by Villanova on the previous possession.
Ball fake, nothing there, pass, swing it, shot. Textbook. And Cremo delivers the exclamation point.
Yeah, I have to say, at practice on Thursday, the shot fake was a point of emphasis by Jay Wright as Pascal misses the first free throw. Pascal's a great story, isn't he, John Rothstein?
No, he definitely is, Tom. And I was at a Villanova practice in the preseason, and Jay Wright told me that Eric Pascal feels much more comfortable as a volume scorer. When he was a freshman at Fordham, he, in 24 games, had double-figure field goal attempts. The last 2 years, with all that talent at Villanova, only a combined 7 in double-figure field goal attempts. So he likes being the alpha male, Tom.
Yeah, the former A-10 Rookie of the Year at Fordham, with Tom Pecora as his head coach. Last year, he evolved after transferring to a Final Four all-tournament team representative. As Cosby Roundtree called for that personal foul.
He's picked up a couple out beyond the foul line, just being over-aggressive with his body position.
That's number 4 on Cosby Roundtree.
But I tell you what, the Huskies
Might be
really unable to get anything going, Tom. They've got to find a way to create some offense, and it's hard when you rely so much on being up-tempo and being forced here today to play in the half court most of the time.
Here's Gilbert in the paint, a little off-balance shot, no good. Rebound is tipped to Quinterly. Bounce pass to Booth, corner for Cremo. Good! This was a 30-30 game at the half. Without Colin Gillespie, Villanova has stretched it out to a 54-36 lead. 10:36 to play here in the second half. A timeout just called by Dan Hurley after the 3 by Cremo. Oh, let's take a look at this run. I mean, this has been impressive for Villanova.
And it's been methodical because of the solid defense, but timely shot making always adds to a team's confidence. Cremo, Pascal, and the three-point shot, a big weapon, as Villanova's been stifling defensively with the mixing up of the defense, full court a little bit, some zone, and then the offensive execution, moving the ball and knocking down shots, superb.
Well, how about that 19-0 run since the technical foul? That's incredible. The technical foul called on Jay Wright. Tomorrow, 60 Minutes explores a small island nation in the Mediterranean with a mythic past. What kind of history is it making today? Plus, running with the wolves of Yellowstone. That's tomorrow. Well, Gilbert will go to the free throw line to try to end a 19-0 run by Villanova.
Tom, this might help UConn be able to get some full court pressure going. They've been unable to score, so they haven't been able to apply any kind of full court pressure. Now out of the free throw, if you can knock this one down, they'll at least have a chance to try to speed Villanova up a bit.
Second shot by Gilbert is good. Villanova has changed up its defenses during the second half too. The 2-3 has helped as well. See the free throws for both teams. Quinterly snaking up the floor before he gets it to Booth.
Good spacing here by Villanova.
And Pascal connects. Well, Villanova, particularly during this run, when they're good, they can hit the three with the best of them. And that ball deflected and pinballed around before Bay pulls it down.
With no rush. They're not looking for the fast break unless it's 100% there.
This is a 22-2 run for the Wildcats. And all this since the technical foul called on Jay Wright.
And it's more of a walk than a run.
That's true.
You know, because they're moving the ball and they're getting quality looks at the three. They've got UConn scrambling all over the place defensively.
And there's Pascal with the offensive board. And Quinterly pulls it back out. Valuable minutes for Quinterly. Pascal and his jumper. That's a sweet stroke from about 7 feet away.
And it's a mismatch with Yakwe trying to defend him out away from the goal.
And Yakwe lays it in. Phil Booth just says, all right, just go on by. The lead is 19 for the Wildcats. This was a 30-30 game at the half.
Yeah.
But the adjustment that Villanova made with Pascal bringing the ball up more often, the extra passes like that one have led to this lead.
Wow. This looks like what UConn did to Drexel in terms of three-point shooting precision.
Yeah, Nova now 6 of 9 from three-point land in this second half.
Boy, the Wildcats have taken the starch out of the Huskies.
And an offensive foul called on Jalen Adams. You know, Pascal was a little frustrated in the first half, Clark, but not frustrated anymore in the second half.
Well, he's getting quality looks. Look at the spacing. And again, Yakwe, very uncomfortable trying to defend Pascal. And penetration, diagonal, rotation late, take it out of the net.
He has the last 8 points. He'll take a breather as Samuels will come in. Swider's in as well. Neither one has really played in the second half. I don't know if Sadiq Bey needed to pull that ball up at that point. There comes Quinterly, lost control, got it back, caught in the paint, bounce pass to Samuels, who has it blocked away from behind. Littell running the floor 1-on-3, lays it in.
This is the only hope for UConn. They've got to try to make it just a wild, frenetic pace. But you got to score to do that so you can get into your full court pressure.
How long do you think Booth and Pascal will be on the bench?
Not long. As a matter of fact, after this next media timeout, they'll be back in the game.
Here's Samuels. Samuels lays it in. Good recognition by Bey. A little too much separation defensively.
Yep.
Littell from way up top, and his shot is good. He rattles it home. That's kind of like he shot it in the first half. Swider is fouled from behind by Littell. That was close. 7:27 to play in the second half. This second half has been a evolution for the Wildcats as they have taken a commanding lead. For our Chick-fil-A game summary, Villanova 11 of 16 in the second half shooting the basketball. They're 10 of 20, which is below their average from three-point lands. But they have really gotten some big boosts from Quinterly, Cremo. Pascal's been really good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, the shot quality has been excellent. The defense has been stifling. They've kept UConn in the half court. And when they've had opportunities, they've made the most of them. But it's the passing and the spacing that's created these opportunities. And I think Booth has been absolutely brilliant all game long.
Yeah, Phil Booth 6 for 6 from the floor. Quinterly 7 points. Cremo with 11 points. They're combined 6 for 10 from the floor. And how about this is a 29-9 run since the technical foul on Jay Wright. With his team down 36-35, it's a 29-9 run. As Swider converts the first free throw.
And they're winning the statistical battles that UConn usually wins. Fast break points plus 13. Second chance points plus 8 is Villanova.
And now it's a 20-point lead. It's a miss by Swider. Gilbert for 3, no good. The rebound by Bay. Both these teams will have time off before Villanova gets into the Big East, which is a wide open conference this year, but really talented teams, as we saw from Marquette last night.
Well, I tell you,
Marcus Howard did.
Yeah, they are high octane offensively, and in John, they've got a presence at the rim that can deny shots. I think he blocked 6 or 7 shots last night. And the Hauser brothers are dangerous. That's a good team for Steve Wojciechowski.
The towel off the glass, nice touch. And it's 65-47. When you talk about wide open, you can say the same really about the American. Houston's
Agreed.
so good. Wichita State is finding itself as the year goes on. Temple in Fran Dunphy's final year.
Yeah, Johnny Dawkins has a good team down in Central Florida. B.J. Taylor, outstanding guard.
Sadiq Bey fouled going to the basket. I know, John Rothstein, you take a peek at both of these conferences quite often.
Yeah, well, Tom, I can tell you the American 1 through 9 is as deep and as talented as it's been since the league's inception in 13-14. And the Big East, with the departures at Villanova, Xavier, and Seton Hall, also exceptionally wide open. And I think you need to look, in addition to Marquette, as two teams who are historically the last couple of years at the bottom, St. John's and also DePaul having a chance to finish higher. St. John's the most talented roster in the league, and DePaul with Max Strus quietly putting up massive numbers could finish significantly higher, Clark, than they usually do.
No, I'm with you, JR. I know you're all over it, but you're exactly right. The league's top teams have not been, at least in the Big East, not as dominant this year as in the past, so we could have a bottoms-up type of look as we go through conference play.
Well, that's great for college basketball. It's great for the conference, too, as Vitale cans a 3. He keeps on shooting, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, no reason not to.
The lead is now 16 for Villanova.
Yeah, you still got to attack. You don't want to start driving your car with the parking brake on if you're Nova. Be smart, but stay aggressive.
Here's Bay, size mismatch in the paint, and he utilizes his size to get that bucket.
That's a perfect example of being smart and aggressive. Mismatch, mouse in the house, go to work.
3 from the corner again, no good, and Pascal. Vitale thought he may have been bumped on that 3-point attempt. Again, Jay Wright received a technical foul with Villanova down 36-35. And since that time, the Wildcats have not looked back.
They're going to enjoy the break between now and the next game, which opens Big East play.
71-50. Well, you talked how important ball movement was for this Villanova offense.
Yeah, when they trust the pass, they've done it a few games this year, but look at Booth. Penetrate, draws 3, kicks out to Samuels, and that's a warm-up jumper. And when you get quality shots, I think it's so important what the VQM is. Volume of shots quality of shots and mix of shots. And Villanova's had a nice BQM today. They've got good volume. They've mixed it up. They've gotten to the paint. They've drawn fouls. They've knocked down threes. It's been just the opposite for UConn. Challenge shots. No second shots.
Quinterly fouled by Vital. It'll go to the free throw line. Tomorrow on CBS, a little faith goes a long way. Don't miss God Friended Me tomorrow after Madam Secretary. Only CBS. Quinterly will go to the free throw line, playing the most minutes that he's played all year. And he converts. He has 8 points. But there's more to it than just the 8 points that Jay Wright, I think, was hoping to see today.
Yeah. Again, you don't quite know until the player is tested, and he's accounted for himself quite nicely today.
The other part of it, too, is Gilbert goes to the basket and is able to get the roll. This is not a soft defensive guard team that he's facing, too. Right. He's facing a very good team defensively with 3 quality guards.
Yeah. And they haven't really been able to rush him or overwhelm him.
Primo, Samuels leaves it for Bay, and he has it blocked from behind and out of bounds.
Well, that was Sid Wilson. Going way upstairs to deny Bay what looked like a dunk.
Oh, yeah, he got all ball.
All orange there. Terrific work by Sidney Wilson.
What'd you call before, the pumpkin?
Yeah, the pumpkin, the orange, the peel, the rock, or the ball. You can go as simple as that, too.
They go to the free throw line for Adams, covered by Cosby Roundtree, and a fadeaway jumper. Not enough on it. I think Terrence Smith may be coming in for Adams as the shot clock did not reset to Villanova's favor after that miss by UConn. 4:14 to play in the second half. Again, this was a 30-30 game at halftime. At one point, UConn led at 36-35, and then Jay Wright received a technical foul and was uncharacteristically, I thought.
Yeah, you were surprised by that.
I was.
Not seen him. I don't know what happened that led to it. It was actually, I think, called on the bench. As we take a look at the shot clock here, should have reset and never did.
So that's what they're taking a peek at. They're going to run the game clock and coordinate it with the shot clock. So 24 seconds on the shot clock. And it's 72-52. (37-16) since that technical foul. Cosby Roundtree, and I think he may have traveled a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a skosh.
Yeah.
But I like what Jay's doing. I mean, he's looking at ways maybe to have Cosby Roundtree create a little bit facing the basket. May not want him to take 3 dribbles, but 1 or 2 dribble moves. He's a decent passer. Well, this will be interesting to see how this progression, what they discovered and used here today with Booth sharing point guard and ball handling responsibilities in the second half with Pascal.
Well, Pascal will go to the free throw line when we come back. There's been a lot of emotion for the Wildcats in this second half.
Yeah, they've stepped on they put the pedal to the metal here. All Wildcats in the Garden.
With number 9 North Carolina. I mean, look at all the national titles that we have on CBS today. I mean, is that amazing?
I know we've got the least amount there, but
you're still on the list, though.
It is the alma mater, so I've got to give them a little extra love. But North Carolina could possibly add another one to its total this year. I mean, I think they're that good. Obviously, every team has work to do as we move into conference play. But, you know, even looking at this game, how Villanova has methodically and quite impressively seized control of this in the second half. They'll enjoy the break before conference play starts because they'll be sitting on a win, an impressive win. But everybody gets to hit the reset button in terms of starting conference play, although there are some conferences that have had a couple of conference games already. But the official start of conference play is about a week and a half away.
And Jay was very reflective when we talked to him. You know, he's playing today without Colin Gillespie, who's out with a concussion. It's not the only thing he's had to deal with, and he's not, you know, he's not saying that anybody should feel sorry for Villanova. We're using DiVincenzo, Spellman, Jalen Brunson, all those guys from the national championship team. But as he said, we have a chance to be special by the end of this year. He said, whereas before, we were special from the beginning. But this is the way college basketball really is. You build as the year goes on.
That's exactly right. I tell you what, the young guy, the young fellow, Quinterly, has done a nice job here. And this could be a building block for him going forward, which obviously serves this team well. Because they'll need him, I think, to continue to grow for Villanova to be its best going forward.
Well, he's matched his season high in points. He's eclipsed them in minutes. He's eclipsed them in assists. He's eclipsed his total in steals. And now if he makes this bucket, he'll eclipse it in points. And he does, 10 points. And I would think the continued evolution for him, he'll keep gaining confidence, and the game will keep slowing down.
Yeah. Well, you know that Gillespie will be back fairly soon. As a matter of fact, I can't imagine if there's no setback that he won't be back for the next game. You're right. With Quinterly, this clearly has to be a nice injection of confidence and feel good for him. And that's important for all players, but particularly for young players as they're adjusting to all that college basketball and college life throws at them in the first few months.
There is Quinterly under the basket. Bounce pass to Roundtree. Now Samuels, shot clock at 5. Samuels losing control. Shot clock at 2 as it rolls out of bounds.
No harm, no foul there. He'll tighten up that handle and be better going forward.
Al fadeaway jumper does not get the bounce off the rim. And Booth is called for the personal foul.
And UConn could never really get into its type of game. Even in that first half, as tight as it was, UConn never really created the pace and the frenetic style of play that best serves the Huskies.
D. Wilson in front of the 1-1, no good. Booth with the rebound. Yeah, Danny Hurley, he understands that this is a rebuild as Slider converts the three. He has talent, though, and I think we saw that, particularly in the first half. Athleticism. And he's an unbelievable coach. Here's Adams for 3, no good. And a blocking foul called on Booth. Dan Hurley has certainly turned programs around and began in high school at St. Benedict's and then Wagner, where he was 5-26 and his final year 25-6. I thought he did an amazing job at Rhode Island. 7-24 season prior to his hiring, and then last year getting to the postseason.
Well, the last couple of seasons at Rhode Island.
And they were two different styles. Last year was a different style team than the year before.
I think it's just a matter of time. It'll be interesting to see how this group rebounds from this.
Yes.
Because they had revenge on their mind as you look at Eric Pascal, who was huge in the second half today. Gets a nice ovation from this crowd. But they were thinking about avenging last year's loss to that machine of a team that was the national championship team last season.
Yeah, that's the video that Dan Hurley showed his team when he was hired. Showed them the video of, Villanova diving after every loose ball, getting every rebound, getting every 50-50 ball. And it was certainly on their mind. As Samuels will go to the free throw line.
But that'll only carry you so far when you get between the lines. I mean, it can stoke you just a bit, but it comes down to grit and execution, fight. UConn showed glimpses of it in the first half. Got away from that once things started to turn in the second half.
Shot is no good for Samuels, but the tip by Swider goes back to Samuels, who jammed it home. Woo! 81-54. As we head toward the 2-minute mark here in the second half, and nothing's going right now for the Huskies. Outscored so far 51-24 in this second half. How about this dunk?
Yeah, this is an IG Instagram. Man, off the missed free throw. We went at that with venom.
The reaction from the Villanova bench.
How about Jay Wright? Never blinked.
No, it's the same reaction he had when they won the national championship.
Just tugged on his suit jacket and moved on. He's got a really good handle on his group.
Yes, he does.
Enjoyed our conversation with him prior to the game. As I did with Dan Hurley, because he understands, too, what he's up against with this group.
By the way, Peyton Heck is in the game for the first time for Villanova, number 22. Quinterly with one on the shot clock, lets it fly, and the ball is tipped. But here come the Huskies. Gilbert for three, and it's good. He's fouled by Peyton Heck, and he'll go to the free throw line for a 4-point play. (81-57). And Gilbert misses. Ball is tipped. And Brandon Slater, the freshman from Centerville, Virginia. Another one of the athletic builds that the Wildcats brought in this year. It was a heralded recruiting class. And Quinterly was the main guy in it. So was Sadiq Bey. Adams. And a foul is called. I'm not sure if Adams was in the act of shooting or not. We'll see what Don Daly says. It is a 2-shot foul. Brandon Adams, who originally committed to Rhode Island, at the free throw line, and when Dan Hurley was able to get the UConn job, Adams was able to get his release and immediately be eligible and go with Dan Hurley. There was a comfort level with not only Dan, but also with his outstanding coaching staff, Tom Moore, Kamani Young, Kenya Hunter. 81-58 with 1:09 to play here in the second half.
Now, this was not the result or the effort that the Huskies were expecting or looking forward to, but it's about how you rebound from this going forward.
Well, as you said, you kind of clean the slate now. They had finished the non-conference schedule for Villanova. They've got that tough DePaul team.
Yeah.
Providence had a huge win last night. And then St. John's, those first four out of the gate are too easy.
It's going to be extremely competitive.
Yes.
I don't know if you have the quality of teams that we've had in the past in the Big East in recent years. Xavier's in transition. Villanova's in a bit of transition. Creighton's in transition. But that doesn't mean it won't be competitive. I mean, it's going to be very, very challenging. And you look at what UConn has coming up. You know, Cincinnati on a nice roll. Throttled UCLA the other night. UCF.
Yeah, UCF's a fun team.
Yes, they are. B.J. Taylor kind of is their primary guy, but Taco Fall and Aubrey Dawkins.
Well, he misses the first free throw. And some more substitutions for Villanova. Tim Delaney, the redshirt junior from Mullica Hill, New Jersey, is in. Samuels is out. Swider is out. Tim Saunders also in for the first time. And Whaley misses the second free throw. Delaney with an easy rebound. 45 seconds to play here in the second half. Villanova has lost 2 straight, looking to end that slide here. Quinterly to the basket. Shot is blocked. It's a loose ball picked up by UConn. Shot clock is off. Game clock is at 25, and both teams just pull it back. Well, this is going to be an impressive victory for the Villanova Wildcats as they continue to transition from a national championship team to a very different team, as they will win this by a final score of 81-58. Ties the largest margin of victory ever over UConn. These two guys who have known each other for a long time meet at midcourt. And again, this game was tied at 30. Jay Wright received a technical when the score was 36-35 in favor of UConn. Whether it's coincidence or not, Villanova went on a tremendous run after that technical foul. Quinterly played some valuable minutes for Villanova today. The freshman, with Colin Gillespie out with a concussion, and played very well. Phil Booth, the senior, really stepped up today, not only distributing the passes, but also making some key shots. And Eric Paschal really came to life in the second half, too.
Well, everybody I thought that played for Villanova came up in a good way. But you're right, those guys stood out. Cremo in his expanded role, and Quinterly, you've got to give them an awful lot of credit.
Well, John Rothstein is standing by with Jay Wright. John?
All right, Coach, congratulations on an unbelievable win. You don't show any reaction when you win a national championship in 2016 on a game-winning shot at the buzzer. But in the second half, in mid-December, you get your team fired up after a technical foul. How much did that ignite your team in the second half?
I hope it didn't, because I didn't want to get one. It definitely was not planned. Don't think it was warranted either, but you know, our guys played tough. I'm proud of them, and this is an exciting place to play, as you know. I think we were all excited.
The backbone and foundation of your program is the term attitude. How much did Javon Quinterly epitomize that today with what he's dealt with recently?
I'm really proud of him. He's done everything you'd want a young man to do. He's persevered. He's learned. He's handled criticism. He's been coachable. I'm really proud of him. It's what college basketball is all about.
You told me after a preseason practice that you had never had this little experience ever returning at Villanova. With this group, are you more teacher or coach?
Yeah, a lot more teacher, and I need to be more patient, you know. But we have really good guys that are coachable, and Javon epitomizes that, and that's why I'm proud of him. But great leaders in Booth and Paschal.
Congratulations. Happy holidays.
Thanks, buddy. Happy holidays.
All right, Tom.
All right, John, thank you. We appreciate that. 81-58, the final score. Villanova has defeated UConn. For Clark Kellogg and John Rothstein and an entire crew, I'm Tom McCarthy. Coming up, it's the CBS Sports Classic doubleheader. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the 2019 Men's National Championship. Now it's time for Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll send you across town to Adam Zucker here in New York.